On February 12th, Russian forces launched a large-scale offensive in Pokrovsk on the Eastern Front, intensifying armored assaults and airstrikes to breach Ukrainian lines. However, the well-entrenched Ukrainian army repelled over 30 attacks, using reconnaissance drones to guide artillery and halt enemy infantry waves. This sector is crucial. If the Russians capture it, they will directly threaten Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. In Toretsk, the situation is critical. After days of massive airstrikes and intense artillery duels, Russian forces are attempting a gradual encirclement. Urban combat is escalating, with every building turning into a resistance point where snipers, FPV drones, and mortars dictate the pace. The Russians are employing a war of attrition, seeking to suffocate the defenders and create another Bakhmut. In Kupiansk and Lyman, Russian attacks are multiplying, with 15 assaults recorded in a single day. The goal is clear: to expand the front westward and exhaust Ukrainian defenses. But Kyiv is employing an asymmetric strategy, targeting Russian ammunition depots and supply convoys to slow the offensive. While the east is ablaze, the southern front remains highly tense. Ukrainian forces have carried out targeted strikes on Russian bases in Crimea and the Zaporizhzhia Oblast, hitting key logistical infrastructure to disrupt the flow of supplies to the front. The Kerch Bridge, a vital artery for Moscow, could soon become a priority target again. Along the Dnipro River, Ukrainian special forces are ramping up harassment operations. Lightning raids, precision strikes, and sabotage missions are preventing Russian troops from regrouping for a large-scale offensive. In response, Moscow has launched a new wave of missile and kamikaze drone strikes on multiple Ukrainian energy infrastructure sites. Explosions have been reported in the Poltava and Dnipropetrovsk oblasts, where emergency power outages have been imposed to mitigate damage. Kyiv, meanwhile, continues its retaliatory strikes on Russian territory. Last night, a strategic Rosneft refinery in Saratov was hit by Ukrainian drone attacks, sparking a massive fire. Deep strikes on Russian infrastructure are intensifying, aiming to weaken the Kremlin's war effort and disrupt fuel supplies to its army. But a new factor is shifting the balance of power. North Korea is officially increasing its military support to Moscow. According to Seoul, Pyongyang has already delivered 11,000 soldiers, 200 heavy artillery pieces, and missiles. If confirmed on the battlefield, this support could breathe new life into Russian offensives in Donbass and further complicate Ukraine's position. On the diplomatic front, the United States is accelerating talks to find a resolution to the conflict. Following his recent controversial statements about Ukraine's future, Donald Trump has confirmed the deployment of his envoy, Keith Kellogg, to Kyiv on February 20th to explore a rapid peace plan and reduce U.S. financial commitments. Meanwhile, Volodymyr Zelensky insists on the necessity of continued military support. However, his latest statement was surprising. He mentioned the possibility of a territorial exchange with Russia under U.S. mediation. Kyiv is reportedly considering negotiating territorial concessions with Moscow, a move that deeply divides the Ukrainian government. Is this a strategic shift or merely a test signal to Washington? At the same time, tensions with NATO are escalating. A Russian Su-24MR reconnaissance aircraft briefly violated Polish airspace, triggering an immediate alert in Warsaw. Moscow claims it was a navigation error, but Poland sees this as a clear provocation, raising fears of a broader regional conflict. Finally, the European Union is preparing a new wave of sanctions against Moscow, with a 16th package of economic measures potentially being adopted before February 24th, the anniversary of the invasion. Brussels aims to redirect a portion of frozen Russian assets' revenues to fund military aid and Ukraine's reconstruction. The war in Ukraine is entering a new phase, marked by fierce battles, strengthened alliances, and mounting diplomatic pressure. As Moscow intensifies its offensives, Kyiv is striking deeper to weaken Russia's war effort. But how far will this escalation go? Will Ukraine accept a compromise under U.S. pressure, or will it push to impose its own conditions on the battlefield? Subscribe to stay updated on this war's developments in real time.